So Cecilia doubled her profit in 6 weeks using these tweaks in her sales event.
Hi there, my name is Cecilia. So what happens? Well, after only 5 weeks working together, I had my first challenge. We made some small adjustments to the one I used to do, and I closed 9 out of 11 sales calls. I made 30,000 euros, and I had like no extra costs for ads.
So in this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into one of our clients who've done some changes to her sales event and really look for what worked and what made that outcome happen. Welcome to today's episode, Sani.
Thank you. No, I'm excited to do this because we're going to do different case studies with some of our clients to, first of all, celebrate the amazing growth they have, but also to give it away. What is the things that is actually working? What is it they're really good at and what they do really well for us together to inspire other people to do the same.
Yeah, so that you can steal some stuff and do stuff better yourself.
Yeah. So we're gonna speak about Cecilia. Cecilia is a business coach. She helps primary women grow their businesses or launch their online businesses with launches, and launches meaning sales events. And Cecilia came to us because she's a brilliant coach. And when we met her, she'd been in her coaching business for 8 months. But she actually already done some really amazing launches. So she's not like the average coach out there. She actually launched her business and has done some amazing results from the beginning in her business. So she's been doing well. And when she came to us, it was because she wants to see like what is the next level. And like all coaches need coaches, because even though you're really, really good at what you do, there's also this thing about having someone from the outside looking at what you do and having that talk about it.
Yeah,
like we do the same, right?
Yeah, with the experience to be able to add perspectives and make it easier so that it can grow.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what she did, because she already does amazing events, but we wanted to take a look at how can we make the profit better and get them to grow even more.
Yeah, and there were a couple of like key characteristics on her events before she came to us. She paid for a sales team, she paid for advertising, and the conversion rate was very, very normal. So it wasn't bad at all.
No.
But it wasn't as good as it could be if we were to build some closer relationships and to tend to some key characteristics that helps people to realize that, oh shit, this is really for me.
Yeah. So we're going to break down what happened. So let's start by talking about the last event she had before she joined us. Now, sorry guys, I'm gonna say sorry right now because I'm gonna give you some numbers. I'm a numbers person, and since it's running businesses, we have some data here. So she had an event. She had a little bit of a belief that she was not the best salesperson. I think even without really doing it from the beginning, she just made the decision that, okay, I need to hire someone who can do the sales for me. Because what she has is she has this amazing energy. She knows that when she get people in front of her, they're drawn to her. She's beautiful inside, outside.
You can say that. I can't say that.
No, I can say that because I'm a woman. But she's a beautiful, like she has that energy, you know?
Yeah.
And like, what's important when we run events is that you have that energy that people get drawn to, and she definitely had this like X factor.
But I think that's super important to highlight, because that's the key characteristic that influences and moves people.
Yeah.
That you have a great personality and also dare to show it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Dare to take place, dare to show it. And she has that. So she decided that, well, I'm going to do what I'm best at, and I'm going to give away sales to someone else. And then she was filling up her events with paid ads mainly. She has a mix of organic and paid marketing, but she was mainly doing ads. So at this event she was doing before she joined us, she paid 5,000 euros to fill up the event, and she had 500 people registered for the event.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, like really good numbers. Then on this challenge, she got 43 sales calls. That is an 8% conversion to sales calls booked at the event. Again, not bad.
No.
It's what to expect. These are cold leads, so it's kind of what to expect.
And cold leads meaning they don't know her, so they're getting to know her for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, an 8% conversion, decent.
Decent, absolutely. Then she had a sales team during the sales call, and they closed 10 people out of these 43. That means that's a 23% conversion. Now, this is where I start saying, what? And that is why she reached out to us, because she was not happy about this number. And I understand that. You know what? I want to really compare that to like the benchmark for most people. And most people say 23% conversion rate, like for cold audience, that's good. We're not happy with that. Because they've been with her for 3 days.
Yeah, and here's also another thing. Because of the belief that I'm not a salesperson, she kind of was handcuffed. She couldn't change it. She couldn't affect it. For one, because her beliefs doesn't support her changing the statistics, but also because she hired a sales team. So she couldn't really go to them and say, hey, do your job better.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, how? And she was like, I don't know, just do better. That's not an adult conversation. So being responsible, she looked at it, okay, cool. So I need a second perspective.
Yeah. Exactly. 23% closing rate on people who's been in the room for 3 days. She was not happy about that. That meant that she made close for just less than 30,000 euros, just less than that. But if we deduct then the cost of ads, 5K, the cost of the sales team, because the sales team was 25%, a closer should not be charging 25%. It's too much. But she was in the same place as a lot of people are. Like, if someone tells you, hey, I can close really well, and you only pay when they sell, it might feel like a good deal, but...
And like in the worst case scenario, we've had to talk to agencies or talk to people who've used agencies that charge like between 40 and 55% as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 25% isn't terrible, but it's absolutely not efficient, especially because they are not producing leads. They are not creating the sale. They're just doing the closing.
So they're doing the closing, and they charge 25%, which is about 7.5K, which meant that she was left with 17,500 in profit, which again, most people would say, oh my God, that's good. Can I just do that every month? That would be amazing.
Yeah, statistically, it's about one out of 100 coaches that does that. So it's in the 1% tier of what people can produce.
So she's not the person who's like just happy getting okay.
She wants to be 1% out of the 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
So I'm so happy. So she asked us, hey, what is the things we need to work on? And we started working on them. So at this first event, after we've done the changes, we'll go through, break down what is the changes we did. But at the first event, she only had 86 people show up. Remember, before she had 500 registered for this challenge. Now she only had 86. And I know there'll be some audience saying, but 86 and before it was 500, that's way worse. But just hold on right now, and we'll go through why this is good and what is about to come. So out of the 86 people registered for the challenge, 12 of them booked a sales call, which means 17% of the people who registered for the challenge booked a sales call. You remember before? It was 8%. So it went from 8 to 17% conversion from registered people to the challenge to booked sales calls. But now hold on, she closed, out of the 12, she closed 10 clients. That is a conversion rate of 83% compared to 23% before. 60% better conversion rate. Now, if we look into the profit, she made 35,000 euros. If you listen to her saying here, she said she closed 9 out of 11 calls and made 30,000, but she sent us that video before she actually closed everything. So she had another sales call and she closed another client. So she made 35,000 euros. And here's the thing. It was 35,000 euros in profit. No ad cost, no sales team cost. That means that she doubled her profit. She got exactly as many clients, but she doubled her profit.
Yeah.
Because she was way more efficient in all of her conversion rates. Now let's go into breakdown. Why is that?
And what would you like to break down first?
Let's break down, like, what did we do? What are the steps we did? So the first step she did was that she changed a little bit in her pricing, because she could see that I can charge a little bit more.
Fun fact, statistically, you can always raise your price 10% and you won't see any differences at all. So that was basically what we highlighted in the beginning. And we didn't make an argument. We just showed, and she made the decision.
So the second thing she did was she made a decision, and that I know this was a scary decision because we agreed on, let's remove the ads just for the next one. Just post the ads for the next one because we want to prove a thing. We want to test a thing first. So she took out the ads and then only used her organic marketing. So she only used her email list, which she's been building really well. And she used her organics, which she's doing really well. So she only did it organically, which means, of course, she only got 86 people instead of the 500. But what we added to it is like it's small tweaks. But one of the small tweaks is that she started communicating not just on emails and not just on like having people register and then they get the email sequence, warming them up to join the challenge and all of that. She still did that, didn't change anything on that, but she added to that like chat sequence. So she started communicating even in Messenger, even on the chat, and have a little bit more of a private communication.
Yeah, or a personal touch base.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. Every sale that is made is based on the relationship with either the person who sells it or the brand that produces it. And so in order to just make those tweaks effective, what she did was that she added a couple of touch points, just making sure that they felt seen, heard, prioritized, and treated well.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. We're not talking about like I went home to everyone and I had dinner with them and they introduced me to their husband or kid, blah, not at all.
Yeah.
It's just showing that I really want the best for you. Hey, I'm super excited. Hey, let's do this. That's it.
Yeah. The other thing she added was she added a Facebook group for the event for the same purpose of being able to have that communication, because instead of just being able to communicate in the emails, she added another place of communication. She added two, a Facebook group, and she added the chat. So she now, instead of having one, she had 3 places of communication. So she had an opportunity to really build that emotional sense of already being in a community, even before they bought her group program.
Or even before the event actually started.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
They felt they were a part of something before they even tried it out.
So those were some big changes of what she did before the event, really having those chats, just checking in with them and like have this personalization, as you said, asking them, hey, I'm excited for you to join me. Let me understand. Like most people who join my challenge normally get A, B, or C out of it. And that is what we call a choice option chat, where we give them, it's a psychological trigger that we use to like guide, reframe people towards what's going to happen, what will happen when you join me on this event. And they opt into what is the change that can happen for me.
Yeah, and what would I actually like without having to have that conversation? And I don't want to go too much into like the details of what she did, because to be true, like she did a number of things depending on who they were.
Yeah.
And she did it slightly differently because that's how we need to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, one size doesn't fit all. So it's more about the principle of like being able to get close to the people before we even start to
understand them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what she did before. Then when she started the event, what was lacking before, now we come back to what you said before, she had 43 sales calls, but it's still only 8% of the people who booked the sales call. Now she had 14%. Yeah. But the big difference is the conversion rate went from 23% to 83%. The reason was that those people who booked the call now understood why they booked the call more, because before they had not gotten the price point of the program before they booked the call, which meant that when they were joining the sales call, they were just curious but not prepared. But what we changed is we just built in like small parts. In the first 10 minutes of the first day, she framed what will happen on these 3 days we have together and my intention on afterwards. She seeded her program from day one, so they already knew the price point of everything. And then she went into the training. So it's literally small changes, like in different places, that she did to seed her next step better, open the gap on where they are to where they want to be, open the gap more, and get them more committed to their own personal journey that she could help them to achieve, which meant that those people who booked the call, it was more people because they got more aligned to the open gap. They saw the gap from where they were to where they wanted to be. That gap was way bigger, so it made sense. They wanted to get on board, and she seeded it really well. She also had her offer, like gone through her offer. She had a great offer already, so small changes in her offer to really make a good guarantee and have a great like promise and some bonuses, some good act now bonuses for them to make a decision to book the call right now.
Yeah, to be fair, here's a few different things. We have done over like hundreds of sales events ourselves. We've helped hundreds of coaches run sales events.
Yes.
So what we did was implementing what we know works and what really moves people. And one of the things was, so she had 86 people joining her event. Now, there are two different ways to pitch the call in an event. You either pitch the call based on like, I've made my decision. So if you want to move forward to do that, you need to have a very, very clear offer. And then you need to be able to put them in a very, very good place so that they know that, okay, I want this, which is very, very efficient, but not super easy. So that's one of her super strengths. Now, another way to do it is to, because you haven't gotten to that place where you've created your offer, is that you rather pitch the call not as like, let's see if you're interested. We don't want to do that. But when they've clearly showed an interest. So you could either go for a sharp pitch where it's basically like, hey, if you have a couple of questions, let's take care of it, but book a call if you're ready to move on. Or you could aim for booking like 60% of the room.
So it's like the benefit of the call rather than the benefit of like the next step of the journey.
It depends on how far along in the process you are. And it switches, and this is the fun part, because in the beginning you want a lot of calls because you really want to like wash out and fix your pitch so that you know that it's exactly what they need
and rehearsed sales calls.
Absolutely good point. And then we want to have less calls for efficiency. And then when we've gotten to one point where it's super efficient and we know that we close a lot, now then the game is, how do I get 60% of the room to book the call with a very high conversion rate? And then that's the game. And so there are different steps. Yeah. And when we've built out our own sales team that works for us, that isn't taking 25% of the profit, then we get a lot of calls again, but with a decent conversion rate. And we've done this so many times with so many people, including ourselves. The small changes usually make the really big differences. That's a very important part to realize, that we need to help the audience to be in a place where they are strong enough to make a decision and clear enough it's the right step.
And you're right, because either you sell in the call and you make people interested in the call, so there's a low risk, easy entry to the call, or you sell in the program rather, so the call is like more an application or like a register call or answer the questions call, which means that the risk is higher, but I'm also way more committed. So it's like where you qualify people and how many you want. She also made another change, and that was, instead of just doing the analytical pitch, an analytical pitch is the value stacking and all of that.
Yes.
Like this is included, bam, 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 bam. These
like showing everything about the program.
She added another pitch. Will you go through that?
Yeah, sure. And it's the pitch that I love. And we call it the emotional pitch. So here's the fundament. And when it comes to sales and selling from stage, everyone based on their sense of emotion that they have connected to the program, the person, and themselves. So we need to move them emotionally to a place where they feel good about it. That's step number one. Then some of the buyers are very analytical. So they need the assurance of, okay, what's inside? But without the emotional pitch, you're going to lose like almost everyone. But when she added the emotional pitch, I remember we ran through it, and there are so many ways that we can do it. But it's literally about showcasing that I've been where you are. I am a human being just as much as you. So it's more driven by purpose than it is personal, rather than it is anything else.
The reason is that we need to acknowledge that in a room of people, when we're not doing sales call one-to-one or having the sales process one-to-one, but in a group of people selling from stage, you will have a part of the people who are mainly analytical buyers. Those are the ones who want information. They need, like, give me more data, details, what's included. That they have a lot of questions about that. But you also have the emotional buyers, and the emotional buyers doesn't care about that. They don't listen to that. It's like kind of when you go out buying a car, you will have some people say they don't care about what's like the numbers about the car. I look at the color, the shape, like how does it look? Like, does it look good? Because the emotional buyers would look into, how would I look driving this?
So I believe that everyone, and you as well, who's listening to this, understand the metaphor. And I also understand that, I'm an emotional buyer. But when it comes to the details about the car, I mean, it is important. The engine of it, it's important. The number and the power it can produce, it's important. The manufacturer and the design and the engineering about it's also important. That ties to the emotion. I want to say that because
People are
it's
both.
Yeah, and everyone has both, but everyone is also primarily emotional. What triggers their emotions are different. And the biggest piece is the identity piece, being able to see themselves. So when you say, how would I feel driving this? For someone, it's about the brand of the car. For someone, it's about the engineering of the car. For someone, it's about the efficiency of the car. For someone, it's about the color of the car.
Absolutely.
And for someone, it's about the shape of the car. So here's where, when we design this in a sales event for coaches or for coaching, we need to make sure that we hit the right spots with the different people in our audience, our avatar.
So even though you're not either or, some people are just like analytical or emotional buyers, but most people will like be triggered first by the emotional thing, and then the buying journey would be that they will first be triggered by the emotional thing, but then they need some more information. Like they shift to becoming analytical to conclude and decide that, oh, this is a good decision for me.
To be able to back it up rationally.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a journey. That means that we need to handle both of them when we do the sales event, because it's a journey. So that's why we implement the emotional pitch before the analytical pitch.
Yeah.
So we take people on that journey. And that's what you added. But the most interesting thing is that not only were they interested in the sales call, they were not curious, but they were ready buyers, which meant that she got 10 out of 12 sales calls closed, 83%. 83% would have most people in this industry say, what? And she did it alone. So she did not have a sales team. So she also understood, you know what? You don't need anyone else to do it at this stage. Just do it first. We gave her, of course, she's a good salesperson from the beginning. So it's not like she couldn't sell. But we gave her a little bit of frameworks to just back it up and just to keep the frame throughout the sales call. So it's a clear sales process.
Yeah, and to allow her to reframe her beliefs about that she has been selling all along.
Yeah.
So she came to us with believing that I'm not a super sales person, but then just taking whatever she was very comfortable with already, helping her understand that all of it is sales.
Yeah.
Helping her to realize that, okay, her sales identity isn't supposed to be changed. It's supposed to be leveraged because what she is doing is working.
Yeah.
And when she realized that, she didn't need a sales team, because it was more about like, hey, are you ready? And they're like, yeah, I just have a question. Can I pay like this? Can I transfer the money? Can I do it like this? And then it becomes super easy.
Yeah. And that's when we start getting the messages. First sales call closed, 2 out of 2 calls, and I raised my price. 4 out of 4 calls closed. I'm a salesperson. It's so much more fun doing sales like this because people are just like eager to get started.
Yeah, and selling to people who wants to buy.
Yeah.
We've said it in the podcast before, but nothing worse than to try to sell to people that doesn't know why they should buy it, or that we have to convince. That's not doing it the way that it's supposed to. Sales is supposed to be fun, and if we do our marketing right, and if we do our interactions right, and the sales event that we might have, then sales is the easiest part. And because we realized that, oh shit, everything has been sales.
And she's doing amazing results with her clients because she helps people do their first online launch and then scale it afterwards. Her clients get amazing results because she does know the things she's giving away. Now, she's quite a lot in front of her clients all the time. So knowing what we know now, doing these changes, what we're going to do now is we're going to amplify, because now we got the numbers. It doesn't make sense to start amplifying anything in the business. And I think that's a huge mistake people do. They think that, oh, I just need more top of funnel. I just need more people. It doesn't matter how many people you have top of funnel if your conversion rates are too low, because you're going to work too hard and you're going to spend way too much money. That's what we did, literally. We got the conversion rates, raised those. Now we can add people top of funnel and keep the conversion rates, which means that now you got scalable business.
Absolutely. And I think it's very important to realize that the results were huge, changes were quite small.
Yeah.
And most of them are based on perspective, that we changed our perspective doing something like psychologically triggering.
We got a cat.
Yeah, it's our coaching mascot.
Got a tail in the... If you're not watching this on YouTube, you need to go into YouTube and see a yellow cat tail.
Yeah.
in the picture.
He's a happy kitty. So there are small changes making huge differences. And that is an important part. Yeah. Let's wrap this up, because then the last thing about Cecilia that I would like to mention and just say that is super cool about her journey is that she is right now figuring out and putting together a high-end offer. And she is moving forward really, really quickly. And she really does amazing work. And one of the reasons why she does that is that she has decided to make it work. Or she has figured out what is it that drives me, that allows me to 4x my business, number one. But also, she has built herself into being someone who can do this. Yeah. Sometimes, just as everyone, she isn't aware of it. She doesn't believe it or feel it all the time. But as soon as she steps in front of people, she has that identity. Yeah. And that identity is created by her. And that's what she deserves the biggest kind of high five for, according to me, because everyone can do it, but not everyone does it.
We hope you like this episode. And if you have a question or something specific you want us to go through and break down, just comment below and make sure you follow us on our group and get our free trainings in there, or follow us on our Instagram. Yeah, I think that's it.
The link to the Facebook group is down below. The link to our Instagram is down below.
Make sure you subscribe
to be notified about all the different episodes that comes up. With that said, guys, let's close it down.
Let's do that.
They are amazing, and it's definitely a game changer.